So I was completely unaware that I already made a retrospect for a movie already with Godzilla, the original film in the MonsterVerse, not realizing that Godzilla was released in May of 2014. So I already got one down the hatch. And usually I don't do reviews or retrospect reviews of films 10 years ago because they still somewhat fresh in the minds of everyone, especially with the MonsterVerse booming and popping right now with the recent release of Godzilla and Kong New Empire, which I have to get to do my review, my big review on. It's coming out soon, so don't. So, if you don't know by now, Spider-Man 2 was released in theaters 20 years ago on June 30th, 2004. For some reason I thought it was May 2004. But Spider-Man 2, at least for me, and I'm going to say it one more time for the people in back can understand, at least for me, and maybe some others, I always thought it was the perfect portrayal of the life of Peter Parker dealing with Spider-Man as well. In this film, Peter has to deal with the daily responsibilities of his life, including his alter ego Spider-Man. He's late delivering pizzas at his job, results in his termination because he's Spider-Man. Late to his love interest / friend Mary Jane Watson's play because he's Spider-Man. Sleeping and late to class because he's Spider-Man. His best friend Harry wants to kill Spider-Man. Aunt May is behind on her payments on her house and other things. Mary Jane is engaged to be married to Peter's boss, J. Jonah Jameson's son, John Jameson, who is a celebrated astronaut. And the icing on the cake, he has to deal with a crazy scientist named Dr. Octopus, aka Doc Ock, Otto Octavius, who wants to harness the power of the sun. With all these stresses on Peter's life, Spider-Man becomes no more when he loses the willpower to become the Webhead. And let's not forget the actual real icing on the cake. With all these struggles and stresses, they're pretty much relatable to the regular day folk, with the exception of course, us regular folk swinging above New York with webs. And I think Sam Raimi and the writers really did their research into the daily life of Peter Parker / Spider-Man. But I know one thing, if someone was to slap me twice like Harry did to Peter at that ball.
Intern and the freak? Isn't that right? Huh? Isn't that right? Huh, brother?
That one there was a violation.
No way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
A lot of slow singing, the flower bringing.
But yeah, ain't no one slapping me like that and getting away with it. Oh, no, no, no. No. No more Spider-Man. The city of New York suffers an uptick in crime. Peter confesses to Aunt May about what really happened that night of Uncle Ben's death, and for some reason, J. Jonah Jameson dresses up as Spider-Man. A deleted scene. Very disturbing. But oh, how can I forget about Peter's amazing feats of strength stopping that runaway train during his battle with Doc Ock? Such a heartwarming scene with Peter and the citizens. Before we go on with the show, how about you guys like, share, subscribe to Franchise History TV, even comment down in the comments down below. I'm also on Instagram at franchise_TV and on Twitter at TV_franchise. I also have two other channels if you guys are interested, Lone Wolf Adventure TV and Franchise 2 Sports. So yeah, subscribe to those three channels. And also like, share, subscribe on all three of them. Say subscribe 3 times. I'm done. Bye. On the other side of the spectrum, the villain of this story, Dr. Otto Octavius, such a sad, tragic story. The man wanted to see his creation blossom, but only resulted in the death of his lovely wife and loyal wife, and his own sanity. His sanity destroyed by 4 tentacles linked to his brain that gave him the name, of course, Doc Ock. His story is understandable. We all have some type of mission or feat we like to accomplish, but sometimes we lose hindsight of what really matters. And sometimes it does come with a price once we get it. In hindsight, this version of Doc Ock isn't the class of evil villain as we all know. Choosing to realize his short-sightedness with his project and already suffering the loss of his wife, he sacrifices himself to stop the powerful experiment from destroying New York altogether, only for his death to be reversed in Spider-Man No Way Home. But that film does continue with Doc Ock's redemption story. Peter eventually gets his willpower back, becoming Spider-Man when Mary Jane is kidnapped by Otto, and in the end, despite the opposition of a relationship with Mary Jane, she leaves her fiancé at the altar, choosing Peter despite his dangerous job as being Spider-Man. She also found out too. While Harry sees an hallucination of his father, keeping a promise to Norman that he would destroy Spider-Man once and for all, becoming the Green Goblin, but in this case of this franchise, the New Goblin. Whatever, stupid ass name. He's Green Goblin. He's Green Goblin. He's the second Green Goblin. But anyways, moving on. Spider-Man 2 is a film that you feel for the hero and the villain, but let me touch on the story of Harry Osborn right quick. As portrayed in the film, being the heir to the Oscorp throne, he's always seen to have at least his head on his shoulders, but always wanted more love and attention from his father, Norman. In the first film, Norman was more attached to Peter since the two savored science, something Harry wasn't into. Sucks for Harry in the first film. He tried to please his father by dating Mary Jane, but it didn't work. He lost the affection of Mary Jane to Peter, then lost his father altogether, a plot that sets up the next 2 films. Something I never got, really. Why would Spider-Man bring Norman's corpse back to his house if he killed him? I just thought Harry coming up with the conclusion that Spider-Man killed his father and bringing him back to the residence was funny writing. Hey, I killed your father and delivered his body back to your house, and you can't do nothing about it. Mong Italians, greaseball shit. Now go get your shine box, you maggot. Sorry for my Goodfellas reference. I'm sorry. I always thought that was weird, but back to Harry. In Spider-Man 2, he is now the CEO of Oscorp, hoping Doc Ock will bring the company to new horizons with this nuclear fusion experiment that eventually went haywire. As much as Harry wanted Oscorp to prosper, becoming better than Stark Industries, which probably doesn't exist in his universe. I don't know why I brought that up. The only thing, sorry, a side note, the only thing about the Raimi stuff, now that they got the MCU, I always thought when the Raimi verse was hot, I always wanted to see, like, what is Stark doing? But anyways, that's how close we got to seeing Iron Man and, I guess, Green Goblin. Norman Osborn. No Way Home. But anyways, he wanted Oscorp to prosper. He knew the experiment had its limits, objecting for Otto to stop the experiment before it really went haywire and caused more damage than what it did earlier in the film. When that experiment went to trash, Harry fell into depression and drinking. He had nothing left. There's one more thing about Harry I noticed. He never tried to make money his persona. He never did. You know how some people make money their persona. Always talk about money, how much they spend. That wasn't Harry. And he even refused to kill Peter after learning Peter's identity as Spider-Man, until he saw that hallucination of Norman. Deep down, Harry was a good kid. Just raised in a messed up situation. A workaholic-like father, no siblings. His mother died at a young age, just terrible. We never got to see him get with Liz Allen either. They never really expounded upon that either. I think out of all the characters in Raimi's Spider-Man verse, his character slept on. You kind of feel for the guy. But let me get at Mary Jane Watson for a minute or two right quick. See, This broad is very self-absorbed, never really asking how Peter's doing, how he's feeling. The only thing she's worried about is that damn stupid play. This man is out here suffering in silence. He's also lusting over your ass too, while protecting NYC and gotta pay that damn rent. Worrying about that damn play. And she was trashing that play. Oh, let's not forget about her leaving her fiance at the altar the way she did. Cruelish. Spider-Man 4 should have been John Jameson Jr. Want revenge on Mary Jane via becoming Man-Wolf starting his villain arc. That's what it should have been. I'm sorry for laughing. That's what the main villain of Spider-Man 4 should have been. Man-Wolf, because J. Jonah Jameson's son is Man-Wolf in the comics. Change him into Man-Wolf and him become the main villain going after Mary Jane because he got left at the altar. I couldn't imagine, man. I know that had to hurt deep down. I know his heart was hurting. You could tell it on the look of his face. Moving on. Unfortunately, Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland's second films have not touched the genius of Spider-Man 2. Well, they tried. And I think Raimi's Spider-Man 2 is well-grounded within the Spider-Man part of the Marvel Universe. Far From Home had too much, Tony Starkness in it. It never felt like it was a Spider-Man movie. It never felt like Spider-Man was in a Spider-Man movie. It felt like he was in the Iron Boy movie. And Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Billy, whatever happened there?
All right then. Whatever happened there?
Spider-Man 2, one of the greatest superhero films of all time.
Avenge me.